We're in the DollTalk section of the show. I have a topic.
DollTalk.
I want to talk about Halsey, the singer Halsey. She talked about her changing her name, and originally her name was Ashley. And she wanted to change her name because she felt like, I had to become somebody completely different, to be who I am, today. And she recently spoke to the Cosmopolitan, where she explained
The Cosmopolitan.
The Cosmopolitan
Gathered you.
Oh, yes, you did. But anyway, one of the quotes that stood out to me was when she said that when she said, in quotes, changing my name gave me the opportunity to create a persona that wasn't bound by my expectations that I had for myself or the limitations that others placed on me because of my upbringing or socioeconomic situation. I identified with that quote because I feel that, I don't identify with it, but I agree, because I felt like, to be honest, I was named after my father. This is, Darren Green or whatever. But as I get older, I started to realize, I'm like, I did not like my name. I did not enjoy my name. And I feel bad for saying that because this is the name that my parents gave me. Hopefully my mom ain't listening right now because she is on her little week break.
Oop.
But it was, I felt like, and it's not because I didn't like I did thought Darren was a little bland, but it's also because, I was named after somebody. So I felt like the whole thing where she says expectations, there's certain expectations that have to be withheld now that you're named after this person. I feel like you can't be your own person. And that's why I would never, if I had a child, I would never.
Because it's not your name.
Yeah.
You felt that it wasn't your name. I got you. I understand that.
I mean, I wouldn't change it because I remember I asked my parents what I asked my mom. I ain't asked my dad. I was like, how would you feel if I ever changed my name? She's like, I'll be offended. I'm like, okay.
Your mom would, because she gave you that name.
Well, legally changing it, of course, but
But it's your name to change. If you want to change it, you can do it. I mean, I thought about that at one point where I had the association of my name with my father because of our relationship. I didn't want it anymore. I was like, I don't want my name to be like his. I'm nothing like this man, even though I'm more like him than I care to acknowledge. But there is something powerful about being able to name yourself. I think when we talked about this earlier today, you were like, you thought I would be able to relate because I have an alternate name or because I have a stage name, Prince Derek Doll or whatever. That is more my creative house. It allows me to play around with things without anything being considered permanent or sticking to me. You know what I mean? Oh,
the folks jumped on this live, child. Okay.
Right. But understanding what my name means, because I'll say this, I am completely in love with my name. Me understanding what Alonzo Sebastian Blaylock means. I love my name. I think I spoke about that on my show, a few years ago. But there is an expectation that comes with what your name means, and if you're named to somebody and homage to them. But the reality is, any limitation that you have or that you perceive is your choice. Boundaries or limitations for yourself are your choice. You get to choose whether you change your name, whether you change or push the pushback on those expectations is a choice that you yourself get to make. No matter what your name is, you could change your name to Billy Bob, but if you still hold yourself to the same expectation of when your name was Charles, you're gonna still act like a Charles.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far and giving her the opportunity to create a new persona, that's the part when I saw that and I was like, a new persona? I don't know. Dealing with different personalities, do people have different personalities?
Not personality disorder, honey.
Well, I was like, is it a disorder though? I do believe that there are different versions of people. I feel like everybody has their alter ego.
Yeah.
Or where they are you have inhibitions and you act a certain way because it's socially acceptable, or you don't want to, go against the grain, and you take in everything around you. I feel like people have their external self and their internal self. And I think that what Halsey was able to do was she created a shelter for her internal self to be able to flourish and grow, despite her external. Which is kind of like I said earlier, I feel like Derek Doll's like that for me. Like, but then again, as Alonzo, I've always kind of like done whatever I want to do, you know. But it's interesting. It's interesting that
I thought it was an interesting conversation because when I read her quotes, she said a lot more, but it's just that part that really grabbed my attention because I was like, oh wow. Because I was always thinking about this in my mind, and I was like, I wonder how I'm gonna deliver this on the podcast. I was like, because I felt like I'm grateful of the name that I was given, but it's just, sometimes it's just I'm like, yeah, I'm Darren. Like I also felt like it was like bland, like I like making like figuring out what this show was gonna be. Like I didn't want my name on it at first because I was like, I felt like the name wasn't as. It's not like an Anderson Cooper, or it's not like a. You know what I'm saying? Like a name that rings, like a Wendy Williams, or it's.
And you know what? That's
or maybe it's just a me thing.
That speaks to your perception of yourself and what you associate with your name. Because I don't know any other Darren Greens, but the Darren Green Show has a ring to me. Like if I hear it, I recognize.
Oh, the last name is definitely brandable.
Well, what I'm saying is like I was saying earlier about the limitations that we place on ourselves. It's your perception.
It's my perception,
and you get to remove that at any point that you choose to. Speaking of about changing your names and about perceptions and stuff, I think this is a great time for me to put my plug.
But I just wanted to say before, because I don't want people to think I'm hopeless, honey. I done accepted with this. I done accepted this name, and now it's the Darren Green Show.
Well, we know that. We know it ain't. I mean, if the name of your show was to magically change, then we would have a question. But we know that you've accepted it.
Right.
You stuck with the Darren Green Show now.
I'm stuck with it.
It ain't changing.
It ain't changing.
Because you said what you said.
I said what I said. Okay.
But yeah, about transformation and about being able to open yourself up to different possibilities and really loving yourself fully. It requires work for some people. And I know that Halsey's background and her battles with, emotional stress and disorders and things like that, like it requires a lot of work to make the decision to be happy, to own yourself, owning your identity, whether it starts with owning your name, owning how you look, owning your weight, owning your height, owning,
your appearance,
like all the things, owning where you're from, owning, your socioeconomic situation, like all those things that make you, like it takes a conscious decision to take ownership of that.
Right.
And I think I'll probably be speaking more on that. For those of you who do follow me on Instagram, I was invited to be a guest speaker at the New Me, New You
good plug.
Summit. And that's going to be on Saturday, November 21st. I'm going to be speaking at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is on Instagram for you to register for the summit. It starts at like 10 o'clock that morning and like ends at 8 or something like that. You're going to have different speakers throughout the day, and we're all going to be sharing different experiences. But I'm specifically going to be talking about my experience being in and leaving or removing myself from a domestic violent relationship, and how over the past 5 years in that time, I've implemented like these 5 A's of transformation to kind of like bring myself into a place of healing, and not just from that relationship, but looking at a lot of different choices and situations in my life where I felt hopeless or where I felt like things were happening to me. I didn't have any control, and just being able to transform myself,
right,
and being in a place like Halsey and just owning everything and like being able to be. So for those of you who would like to tune in, I would love for you to join me on next Saturday, and I'll probably remind you again on the show next Friday. But yeah, to register for that, the link will be on the page. Because now this is our Oprah moment. Like, we're not just going to entertain you, honey.
Okay.
We're going to educate you, and we're going to enlighten you, and we're going to lift you up and motivate you and give you the things.
Give you the things that you need.
But yeah, so how old were you when you realized you didn't like your name? We'll go back to that because I want to know.
How old was I? I think I was in... I always felt weird saying it. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone called me Nicholas. First of all, my family calls me Nicholas. That's my middle name. So I would identify with that. But when I went to school, people called me Darren. And I notice sometimes when I say it, I just say it in cringe almost. Like I cringe when I say it sometimes. And it is really not a bad name. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, some people that complain, like, for example, like the girl that played Crazy Eyes. I forgot her name, but it's
her African name.
Yeah. She didn't like it, but I'm like, it's so unique. Like, I'm into, like, unique names.
Go with Ngazi or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Hold on one second.
Yeah, look it up.
Damn. Oh, snap. What happened?
It's like Azub. Hold on, let me say. Because I don't want to butcher it.
I'm like, hey, Siri.
No, hey, Siri.
I saw that she did a
She spoke about it before.
She did a TED Talk. I was watching about her. Oh yeah, Uzo Aduba.
Uzo Aduba. Yeah, exactly.
About where her mom said about if they can say, Tchaikovsky and all these other Russian and German names, and they can say your name.
They can say your name.
And it reminded me of one of my frat brothers. He doesn't mind me saying his name, but when I was in college, there was this boy I knew. His name was Chad, and we ended up pledging together. We ended up pledging Alpha together, and we had to learn his real name, and his name is Inke Chikuyem. I'm not gonna say his middle name.
Okay.
Onyenwa, and we had to learn how to spell it, learn how to say it. And I remember asking, like, well, if this is your name, why do they call you Chad?
Make it simpler.
And he told me the story of that when he was in kindergarten. When he started school, a teacher was having trouble saying his name, and they just changed it. So we're gonna call you Chad, and it just stuck.
A teacher, damn.
Baby, my mama would have been.
Oh hell no!
My mama would have flipped that school upside down.
People used to call me Daryl too. Like, I'm like, do y'all not hear the N? I'm saying Darren. Like,
right. But he owns his name, and I admired him because even at that time, like, people call me by my first name. Now, like, especially professionally, and I can always tell when people met me based off of what they call me. Like how long I can tell how long.
I met you when you were Derek.
You met me on set. I was booked to do a photo shoot, so you knew me as the performer or as
that's
an
why
artist.
when I started hanging around you, people was like, Alonzo. I'm like, oh well.
And those were my friends. I was
like, well, dang, should I be saying it too? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, those are my friends who knew me in a different capacity. And I was called by my middle name too. Me and my dad have the same name. We have the same first and middle name.
Okay.
And he was Alonzo growing up, or Alonzo, and I was Sebastian. And that's how they knew us apart. And then I got to maybe like 5th or 6th grade, and I went to this school in Minden, Louisiana, and people started making fun of me.
Because of that name?
I was like, my middle name is French. Like I felt special about my name. My name is Alonzo Sebastian Blaylock. Okay, and it's a very powerful name. My last name got a powerful K at the end.
Okay.
But they started calling me Tabasco, Sebastard, all kinds of things.
Oh my goodness!
To the point where I stopped. That it made me not like my name. Looking back, I can't believe I allowed other kids who had some really. I won't call it ghetto. They had really creative names.
But it kind of defined you. I felt like my name was so common that I never went through that. It was just like, oh yeah, I'm Darren. Well, and like I said, I just felt like, to me, it's not, I have an issue with the name. It's just the fact that I'm just named after someone, and it's like.
You want your own name.
That's just, And I hate it when people used to be like, oh my God, you're just like your dad, or you're just like your mom. And I'm like, I'm like me.
And who are you? Darren.
Yeah, right.
Well, what would you? So even tapping into that, like, what was your almost name?
Well, my mom was just going to name me Nicholas because I think she named me after the Nicholas off of Young and the Restless, but she said there was another Nicholas that she knew that she wanted to name me. She wanted to name me Nicholas Ryan.
Okay, that would have been cute.
That would have been cute. Ooh, the Nicholas Green Show.
Right, the Nicholas Green Show. It still sounds the same. It has the same ring to it. Darren is a stronger consonant than an N, though. N's are soft. Nicholas Green.
The Nicholas Green.
Darren Green. See how 4 letters? The Darren Green Show.
Yeah.
See, I think about phonetics. I think about that.
But I think it also makes the show seem more serious, like the Darren Green Show. Like, I feel like I'm about to talk about politics or nothing. No, just I'm talking about shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be more playful.
Yeah.
But
my almost
you know,
name
you
was
get
gonna
what
be-
you got, and you live with it. Okay?
My almost name was Jonathan Christopher. I think my mom was gonna name me Jonathan Christopher.
But the thing was, my dad wanted me to be a junior, so that would have been
Mine
like
did.
the whole name. I would have been Darren Keith Green, but they compromised.
Ooh, and you know what the gag is about that? We both were named after our fathers.
Mm-hmm.
They probably thought they were gonna have like juniors and thought they were gonna be like thirds and shit. But the gag is
Now, what? Not the third. Ooh.
oh boy. Who that blessed my soul just now? I don't know. I still man.
I mean, he I mean,
my
that kind of
dog.
ended that trend when I'm not a junior, so it would have been impossible anyway.
My father still calls me Junior.
I was never called junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was they always called me Nicholas. I'm like, I might as well just had named me that anyway.
If my mom had named me a junior, my initials would have been ASS.
Nope.
I'd have been Ass Junior.
Oh my God.
Yeah. My mom knew she was doing. Smart lady. But yeah, so for those of you listening out there, listen, if you like your name, keep it.
Yeah.
If you don't relate to it, change everything about your life, really. You have
You
the
can
choice.
edit. You have a choice. We can edit our bodies. We can
Your
edit our
whole
name.
life is Photoshop and audition. You can change
Ooh.
how it looks and how it sounds based on what you need your reality to be. We're here for all of it. And this has been another episode of DollTalk.